trashy pulp novels of the world have anything to offer? Are bestsellers all they're hyped up to be? The Terrible Book Club explores whether or not you really can judge a book by its cover or its ridiculous synopsis. If you've ever seen a book and thought, ugh, who's reading this? We probably are.
Episode of the Terrible Book Club. I'm Chris, and this is Paris.
Hello.
And this time we have a double feature at the drive-in here. Everyone get your best girl and drive on in for some B-movie schlock, because that's what we got here. We got a book that is two books, or novellas, I guess, or short stories.
Yeah.
This is like a little fancy item of printing where one side of the book is one story that's like 150-ish pages, and then you flip it over on the other side, there's a whole other cover with the whole other story that's like 75 pages.
Yeah.
And the first one is Lands of the Earthquake by Henry Kuttner. Kuttner or Kuttner?
Kuttner.
I can't tell if those are T's or L's, I'm sorry.
They're T's. They're two T's.
The cross part is very tiny, which apparently this one is some story from 1947.
Yep, Kuttner was one of those, like, I don't know, obviously, like, he wasn't as famous as, Lovecraft or anything, but he kind of ran a little bit in that mythos that Lovecraft created, and Clark Ashton Smith and stuff. So he was like a B-list weird horror guy of his time. He and his wife were actually both science fiction writers.
This one was originally appeared in the May 1947 issue of Startling Stories.
Yeah, that's like where
stories that just sneak up on you and give you a scare.
Yeah, and the other book on the other side.
The other book, other short story, because this is a 75-page one, is Under a Dim Blue Sun by Howie K. Bentley.
Yeah,
which is kind of a lame title.
I actually liked the title, but Howie Bentley is the singer of this band Cauldron Born. Actually a really cool band. They're sort of like traditional heavy metal, sort of power metal, but they definitely pump out some cool, like, epic doom tunes, sort of, if you're into that. I don't know, I just know that, like, they have one of their albums, I think it's actually called, like, From the Cauldron Born or Into the Cauldron or something about cauldrons. They're
very soup-based metal. Is
yeah,
what I'm
very
here.
yeah.
A lot of soup metal.
Yeah. No, but they have this really, really sick opening track to this record. Anyway, Cauldron Born's a cool band. And Howie Bentley, sorry, Henry, Howie, both H's. Howie is the singer. So I was pretty excited to read this because my friend Noah and his girlfriend Hillary, they live downstairs from me on the second floor, and then the first floor is our other two friends. So we kind of have this, somehow managed to rent this entire building with just metalhead folk that we know. So it's cool. Noah and Hillary, like, they went to some festival. There's too many metal festivals at this point. I can't remember which one it was, but they went to a festival. And I don't know if Cauldron Born themselves was selling this at their merch table, but somehow they picked it up at a fest and didn't realize how bad it was going to be. And so they just, like, had this.
The cover is a clue.
Well, the cover for the Cauldron Born, the cover for Under a Dim Blue Sun is just... I mean, it's hard. It's indescribable, really.
There's
like...
a man in a U.S. military uniform with some kind of shotgunny looking thing. There's a UFO behind him with a Nazi symbol on it. There's a lady in, like, bikini armor who is wrapped up by a snake person.
Yep.
And they are having a confrontation, and the woman seems to be in a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So it's very sci-fi schlock. This is cover art done by Panspec, I get is the credit here.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. That like some alien, like Panspec? He just does bad covers, like this is what he does.
Yeah, he probably doesn't want to use his real name for, being associated with maybe some stuff like this.
Yeah,
Land of the Earthquakes cover is like a pretty
like bad painting, but it's not bad in the way the other cover is. It's just like bad quality. Otherwise, I think it would be a fine painting. It's just like
almost watercolory looking thing with like two men on a horse. One has a knight helm. The other one is just like a guy with a mustache, and the guy with the knight's pointing upward towards like the top of a kind of mountain thing where there's like a cliffside trail or something. Ooh,
yeah, it kind of looks like if you were like 8 years old and were kind of talented. That's what it like. That's the level we're talking about. It's not good.
And Under a Dim Blue Sun reads like if you were 15 and mildly adept at putting a story together.
Oh boy! All right, so yeah, so this is a double feature for episode 31. So anyway, Noah and Hillary gave this to me because I was talking about the book club and how we were trying to figure out what to do next, and they just gave it to me at a cookout, and they were like, just take it. I don't even think they want it back. Like that's how bad an experience it was. So I looked at it, at first I saw the Lands of the Earthquake cover and I was like, all right, this sounds kind of cool. Because, like, it's titled Lands of the Earthquake and then underneath it's like, in a sorcerous world where lands shift and time does not or something like that.
A sorcerous world where space was fluid and time was not is
so
the
I was
subtitle.
So I was like, all right, that sounds cool. And then I flipped it over and immediately was just like guffawed and was like, what the fuck? Because the cover for Under a Dim Blue Sun, like we said, somehow packs American military crap, Nazi military crap, an alien like flying saucer, a snake man with a gun, and a lady in bikini armor. Just like somehow all in one frame. And it's just mind-blowing.
You really got to pack all that stuff in there to get people to pick the book up. I mean, you definitely, if you saw this on a shelf, you'd want to know what's happening.
Right. And
pretty quickly. So it's effective in that sense.
Yeah, so like my theory about well, actually, let's just talk about Lands of the Earthquake first.
Sure, because this is the meteor story. It's
Yeah.
longer. It's got a little more depth to it, I guess you could say, but only in the way that, like, if one puddle was like slightly deeper than the other puddle.
I mean, so Lands of the Earthquake by Henry Kuttner. I think that it actually has some really cool concepts in it.
Sure, there was like an interesting build at first. I was kind of like into it at the start, and
too.
then it takes this turn that just makes it lame.
All right, Chris, do you want to take us there? Do you want to
tell
us
so
the story beats?
Sure. This begins with the man who lives in New York, I guess, in the late 1940s, much when this was published.
Wait, is it New York?
Yeah, he's in New York.
Okay.
And he apparently has a lost year where he woke up from a coma because he was just walking down the street one day, and all of a sudden he wakes up a year later in the hospital, and it freaks him the F out because that's kind of weird. And he has weird memories of a woman smiling at him, and he has this crystal in his pocket that he doesn't want to leave. He just always has to take it around with him.
Yeah. So the story opens, and it's pretty cool because you're like, all right, this dude had amnesia for a year and has no way to recover that information because it's like the 40s or whatever. It's not now. It's not like where you can be like, oh, what was I doing on Facebook for the last year? Like you can't fucking.
Actually, you're right. That would be pretty effective if you had like a lost year. You could just look back at all your social media posts and probably piece it together.
And when you see like a selfie of yourself in the fucking Lands of the Earthquake, and you're like, oh, I was in the Lands of the Earthquake. All right, cool. Like,
I'll tag myself in there.
Oh, so
by the way, if it's a land of a singular earthquake, that gave me the sense that it was one continuing, ongoing earthquake.
Yeah, the title is a little weird. But anyway, like, the beginning of the story is actually kind of gripping. Like, it's probably not the best prose I've ever written, but I ever read, but I was like...
It's fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
Dude's name is William Boyce.
Boyce. Yeah.
And he has this lost year, and then he starts trying to, like...
Yeah, and he's like, oh, man, I got this crystal, and, like... Putting it down makes me feel uncomfortable, but I can't explain why. I feel like I just need to have it with me all the time.
And then he's drawn to this apartment on some street for, like, just reasons. It's literally just because he was.
Yeah, well, because he's thinking, he's trying to, he goes on, like, I don't know, walks or something, and is, like, just trying to remember. And he's like, man, I keep thinking about this apartment. Like, I know that's where I saw her. I know that woman. Like, he doesn't know who the woman is. And then he just, like, shows up at this apartment. And this guy's like,
the guy
fuck?
enters the door and he's like, "What's up, buddy?"
You
And
selling
he just
Girl Scout
busts
cookies
in,
or what? Like, what
and
is
he
this?
just walks into this guy's apartment. He's like, "I know this place," and of course that man is alarmed very quickly.
Yeah, like I would have fucking called the police. I would have kicked that guy out of my house. It was
He
weird.
was trying to, but Boyce just powers past him, goes into the basement, which he recognizes as some room he's been in, takes the crystal out. It starts drawing weird patterns on the wall. He walks through the pattern after he finds out it's kind of solid. It's like glass, and then he falls through into another world.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, and I think the
So
guy,
spooky.
and I think the house owner like kind of gave him a pass because the guy was like, you know, I keep wanting to say Howie Bentley, the author of the other story, as the. I mean, it would be funnier that way, but you know, Boyce is like. Where's like I know a woman lived here, and he was like, I don't know, I like subletted my house for a year. I'm sure that has nothing to do with this. And I think he was probably like, oh yeah, I guess I did sublet it to this lady, so like that's probably why you're here, right? Duh.
But anyway, yeah, William just kind of stumbles into his house and goes like, "I've been here before," and like goes into his basement, and I guess from this man's point of view, like disappears or something.
Yeah, right.
So that guy had a weird day.
Yeah, that guy was like, wow, I better stop subletting my house. Jeez.
That's why you don't sublet, man. Just
don't sublet. Just this.
You're asking for strangers to bust in with a weird crystal and then disappear into thin air.
Yeah, you're asking for people to travel interdimensionally in your basement, and that like we don't even have insurance for that. Like you can't even protect yourself.
Try
Please.
going to the insurance salesman and be like, "Listen, last year what happened is I let this guy, or I didn't really let the guy in. He just came in, and then all of a sudden I have like magic glass all over my floor. I know it's magic because I don't have any windows down there."
Yeah, right. But anyway, so yeah, he falls through this glass window into another world, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. And then things start getting weird. So, like, he immediately gets hunted by, like, the hunter, right? Is that what that guy's name is at the beginning?
The huntsman.
The huntsman. He immediately gets hunted by the huntsman with, what are they? Are they dogs or cats?
They're, like, cat-looking things with
cats.
vaguely people-like faces.
Oh my god, is that what ties the... Anyway, that's the hidden key. Moving on. So, he's hunting him with these, you know, like, I don't know, hunting jaguars, you know, or whatever.
Sure.
And so he runs away, and then he eventually runs into, like, this cool guy, Knight, who's like, Blair! I don't know, asks him something in medieval French, and he's like... Oh man, I can understand medieval French. What the fuck?
Yeah, I guess I picked that one up along the way.
Yeah, and it's like I was. Sorry, what?
Apparently, this world takes place in like it's a dimensional gateway to medieval France.
No,
or
it's no.
A castle. No, I know what it is, but I'm building to it.
Oh, okay.
It's like a detached castle that was taken over by medieval Frenchmen, and this castle has somehow become detached from all other worlds and now floats in this like interdimensional soup land of some kind. Yeah,
and so, you know, eventually Boyce discovers that the reason this dude's speaking medieval French is because they're crusaders who were led astray by some mysterious person when they were trying to get to Jerusalem. And they traveled for a really long time and eventually realized they were being led astray. But by the time they did, it was too late, and they were like, well, there's a building, and then they, like, fought people for control of the building and took it over, but they've just been stuck here. So a bunch of crusaders and their families just ended up stuck in this weird, like you said, kind of like time soup, because they are unable to get out of it. And they say that, like, other kind of worlds pass by them. When the earthquake happens, you know, when it happens every once in a while and, like, things kind of shift spatially, but they never change temporally. So, like, they haven't aged since they got there, and they've been there for, like, 600 years or something.
They can't even really perceive time anymore, so they're kind of asking William questions about like where he's from, and they kind of pick up that he's from a possibly future version of their old world or something like that.
Well, yeah,
because he understands the French, and he understands references to Jerusalem and places like that.
Yeah, and they're kind of psyched because apparently they haven't had a visitor like from their world, like from our world, at all, I guess. And man, I just realized another like weird plot hole in this story, which we'll talk about later. But And so right now, or I guess for the last while, they've been kind of warring with this sorcerer city, who is I don't know, they're like the last settlement to like float and then lodge by them during these weird earthquake shifts. So yeah, I don't know. At this point in the story, I was like, this shit's kind of rad, but I maybe wouldn't have gone with like French Crusaders. But you know, that's his choice. That's his flavor. That's his little sprinkle.
Yeah, the weird thing with like just that languages understanding each other seems to be kind of like a really weak, like, oh, let's just forget about all this. They can communicate.
Yeah, and he later realizes, you know, he knows the language because, you know, he's been here before. But even then, it's like, how did you pick up medieval French like that, dude? Like, even if it was just for a year, I don't think you would be...
Very immersive experience.
Yeah, I mean...
all
well,
the
like,
way through the amnesia. It sticks really well.
Yeah. Well, and then my question is, how the hell are they communicating with people in the sorcerer town? Because they are not from medieval France. So, like, what? Like,
It
I didn't
says
even
later
think about
on that, like, the street people in the sorcerer city have, like, a patois, like, which is, like, a street language that incorporates elements of the French of this weird detached French castle.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But
reason.
that still doesn't really make any sense to me.
Yeah,
like, that was one of the things in the story I was like, I don't think you really thought about this, but whatever.
Especially if they're fighting all the time.
Yeah, like, when would they ever have the option to fucking hash out a weird, like, pigeon language? Like, anyway. So the languages don't make sense. Yeah, so he figures out, oh shit, this is where I was for the last year. But he's like, oh man, how did I get here? How did I get back? Like, I gotta find this lady. This lady's the key. Oh yeah, and one of the other stupid things that happens, like, pretty quickly in the book is, like, when he gets to the castle, and, like, this, like, knight bro dude that picked him up on the road and was like, oh man, I'll save you from the huntsman, get on my horse. And, like, they go back to the castle. He's like...
That's a really good medieval French accent, by the way.
Yeah, he's like, oh, hey, guys, I picked up this traveler on the road. The huntsman was
I didn't know
trying to kill him
Sonic the
again.
Hedgehog was from medieval France.
Is that what I'm doing right now?
It sounds a lot like a Sonic the Hedgehog voice to be like, yeah, it's gonna go fast. We gotta get back to the castle where time stands still. But I do not.
So this
Sonic the Hedgehog.
This book is really about Sonic. I'm crying right now because the reason this is so funny is because I've never played a Sonic game and I've never heard that before. So apparently I'm just
His
naturally
voice is
Sonic
pretty
the Hedgehog.
like, gotta go fast. Yeah, attitude.
Okay.
Earthquake land zone, I guess, is
I
the,
mean,
you know,
yeah, so this story is really about Sonic the Hedgehog, is what we discovered.
or at least this night is.
William Boyce, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Sonic and
There's other
Boyce
weird
get to the
things-
castle, and...
There's other weird stuff going on in the castle, namely a Sonic the talking hedgehog that's blue and is super fast. No, but there's another guy named Sir Guillaume, who is like the lord of the Crusaders that ended up here, and he is Guillaume Dubois, or William Boyce in French.
And they're like...
they look identical.
Yeah, and they're
apparently.
like, oh, fuck, you guys look the same! And it's like... And I was like, oh, yeah, that's bizarre. Like, okay. I remember thinking, all right, that's stupid. But then they, like, kind of get around to, like, explaining it, sort of.
A little bit.
So, yeah. So, I'm like, all right, this is kind of cool, but there's some...
There's cool mysticky stuff. There's Tancred the Mage, who's the other kind of major character in the castle. And then there's the Oracle, which is... I can't
this
tell
part
if
was
it's,
cool.
So eventually they bring William in front of the Oracle because they're like, oh, he might be a spy from the Sorcerer City because he looks exactly like Sir Guillaume. There must be some fucked up shit happening with the Sorcerer City trying to get one over on us. Let's bring him to the Oracle. So they bring him upstairs, and there's this cage of fire, and there's a weird, like, pure white pale lady that is still a stone or actually made of marble. I wasn't quite sure if it was a metaphor or actually...
she wasn't really. She just looked like she was.
She moves sometimes.
Yeah, moves and
very
talks,
little.
but very, very rarely. And apparently she's some kind of... Yeah, they call her the Oracle because she knows when people are lying. So she's... I don't know, sort of like a confessor, I guess, from the...
But how? But by the way, did they ever explain how she had these powers?
No. I mean, this is why the story is kind of, like, not great in a lot of ways. So this is cool. We're like, oh fuck, this lady statue thing is in a cage of fire, and she fucking like tells them if people are telling the truth or not. Like, that's nuts. And so, of course, the first thing I think is like, why didn't they ask this lady how to leave? Like, if she's some kind of all-knowing oracle, couldn't they have been
I
like...
think it's assumed that they did, and she was like, nah, you can't. Don't ask me again.
No, I don't think they did. But, yeah, and so that's kind of cool, and of course, you know, they bring him before her, and she's like, no, he's not, you know, he's not a traitor. It's fine.
But there is a traitor amongst you. It's that guy that came back from the Sorcerer City and has been sitting in a corner shivering for the past week.
Looking like he has the plague.
Like, no one ever looked underneath the cloak he had wrapped himself in or something, because turns out he's a horrible, tall, spindly demon thing instead.
Yeah, and the Sorcerer City has been, like, by the way, there's, like, a precedent has been set here that, like, the Sorcerer City has been capturing people and turning them into monsters and sending them back, and also just sending back regular spies, I guess. So they're, like, always very suspicious if somebody gets taken in the Sorcerer City and, like, you know, then comes back or something. But
they let this guy just kind of sit in the corner shivering and...
Well, it's because he was, like, a child, right? He was, like, younger. I think he was a kid.
It was, like, 13 to 15,
Yeah,
probably.
so I think that's why they were like, oh, they wouldn't fuck with a kid. Oh, they would. They fucking would.
Yeah, it's totally fine that he came back from the city totally different and refusing to take off a cloak.
Yeah, really. And so, yeah, so that shit goes down. There's, like, a fight scene, but the fight scenes are written kind of lamely.
This one just kind of happens fast. It's like, oh, they were all fighting him, and then they vanquished him somehow. The end.
Yeah.
And it goes... The next thing that happens is this cool scene where William wakes up, and everyone in the castle's asleep, and only he is awake, and he has to go figure out what's going on, so he goes to the Oracle, and I think... she, like, doesn't help him much, from what I remember. He tells her he has to kill Guillaume, I think.
Yeah, he asks her, like, oh, what's going on? She's like, you have to kill Guillaume, which is just himself, but in Crusade times. I don't know. And so he's like, oh, shit. So he goes up to check on Tancred because the mage guy, because he's like, oh, man, you know, Tancred will know what to do. And then he gets up there, and Tancred's also asleep, but he's, like, fighting it real hard because he's a mage, and he's, like, trying to push through the magic that's befallen them. And, I don't know, I forget what happens. He, like, grabs a magic sword, and Tancred, like, helps him fight through the sword, and, like, some guy comes in and tries to kill everyone. I don't know.
It's Sir Guillaume that comes back in and demands that Tancred must die. But he has a weird collar around his neck, and Tancred is helping William Boyce use the sword with magic powers, even though he's, like, half asleep. And he shatters the collar on Sir Guillaume's neck, and everything's okay and cool. And then Sir Guillaume is like, oh, I went with Godfrey to the Sorcerer City to execute this plan, and now Godfrey has been... Godfrey's the Night Bro, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Godfrey's Sonic. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. So Sonic the Hedgehog has been kidnapped. William, you have to go save Sonic now.
It's like, oh, all right, I'll get Tails. So even though it's kind of been proven at this point that, like, going to the Sorcerer's City is, like, kind of not productive, they're like, well, guess we're doing that again. Like, okay.
Because Sir Guillaume has contacts in the city, so he's like, okay, William, you're going to go there and meet up with these contacts and find Godfrey, and good luck, I guess. He doesn't give him any info.
And also pretend, like, the whole gig is supposed to work because they look basically identical. I don't know if that's how genetics works, but I guess you're I guess you're just a clone of your ancestor from 600 years ago.
Every 500 years, the same you pops up again.
Yeah. And so he's like, yeah, it's a great plan. Like, we'll just put some beard on you. We'll just dirty you up a bit, make you look a little older, and you're good. And he's like, oh yeah, I've been or I don't know. He doesn't even tell him.
No, he just sends William out there, and he's like, just meet these people, and you're
in this place, and everything's cool, and, like, so they go, or he goes, I guess, right? Yeah.
Just William.
He just goes by himself into this sorcerer city that has been proven to be horrible and dangerous, and a really cool thing happens where they are these beings They're called they.
There are these beings.
Yeah.
We didn't skip it, and they are always constantly referred to as they or them, as if they're the Illuminati or something, but you can't actually look at them.
Yeah, so they're so horrible that you can't actually look at them. So no one really knows what they look like. And so I actually thought that was really cool. And whenever they travel anywhere from place to place, because, I don't know, despite being these kind of like super intelligent creatures, they still travel on foot. I don't know.
And in a single file line, apparently. Everyone's very orderly. And just, I mean, look, we might be interdimensional hell beings that when you gaze upon us, you go mad and, you know, your brain secedes into chaos, but we have to travel in a line. We have to travel in a line.
And so whenever they're coming through, they have these little bells that tinkle. And so whenever people hear those bells, they're like, fuck! Duck and cover, get inside. Like, it's just like, you know, nuclear bombs may as well be dropping on the city. People are like,
I don't want to have to look at them.
Well, yeah, because if you try to look at them, like Chris was saying, you sort of start going mad. So everybody starts running around and hiding, and, you know, Boyce is like, the fuck is going on? And he hears the bells, and I think he saw them once before when he first came through, and so he's like, oh no, it's those things again. And this, like, little kid is like, come with me, sir. I'll save you. Come into this, you know, great. Yeah, it's super. So, you know, he follows the kid, even though that's obviously a stupid idea. But I don't know. Somehow that, like, leads him to the people that he was supposed to meet anyway, which was also kind of strange. I don't really know. I guess these people had hired this kid to look out for Boyce, and so coincidentally, he, like, found him at the right time. I don't know.
So this little girl is like a weird thing. But yeah, he ends up running into like the contacts that Guillaume had anyway.
Yeah, but Guillaume sucks and like doesn't even tell him like what's going on. So
he's basically in the middle of like this negotiation because Guillaume had promised them information to get into the castle.
Because he's been pretending to be a defector and a spy for the Crusaders, even though he's their leader.
Yeah, I guess they don't know enough about the people living there to know what their lord looks like. And so they're like, "Come on, man! We've been paying you good for this info. Cough up the info." And Guillaume is just kind of, William as Guillaume is trying to just wing his way through it. Like,
God, it's so bad. It's so bad.
You have to pay me more money first, and they keep paying him more money. So then he's like, but I don't want that guy to come. And then they're like, all right, whatever. And then he's like, but he's just pulling shit out of his pocket.
And it's so...
I came here to find Sonic. Do you guys know where he is?
Yeah, it's so sad because he's just trying to get Godfrey back, but he walks into this situation that he's just so unprepared for, and it made me think, like, why wouldn't Guillaume want him to succeed? And all I can think is that, like, maybe he really was a traitor? Like, I don't know. Because why wouldn't he tell him, like, bro, this is what's going on? Like, it seems insane to not give someone that information unless you're purposely trying to let them fail.
You just gave him a pat on the butt and a goodbye. And just said, all right, man, you got this. Don't worry about it.
So, yeah, I kind of... Either that was a huge fail on the author's part, or Guillaume was actually trying to just get rid of the younger version of himself because he was very aggressive towards William when he first arrived. So I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway...
Negotiations break down pretty quickly.
Yeah, hilariously. And by the way, he's still carrying that crystal that, like, got him into this world. And he, at some point earlier in the story, had, like, remembered the lady's name, maybe? No,
he remembers it at this moment because he's about to die, and that triggers the memory of the lady's...
Yeah, and he grabs the crystal, and he's like, I call upon the aid of... Yonte or whatever.
Wait, no, he doesn't. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what happens.
He doesn't say, I call upon the... He just grabs the crystal and says her name, which is Wraith.
Oh, I thought he said I call upon the aid of Wraith.
What is this Power Rangers shit you're adding into this?
They're gonna form the Megazord.
Yeah, I guess.
Sonic,
well, there's enough people.
The Yellow Ranger. Yeah, no, the Red Ranger. She's the Red Ranger.
Yeah,
Sonic,
there's enough people in here, I guess, to make a Power Ranger squad, and he just thought he was at the convention because there's all the people are like well armed and they have their own. There's a redhead with a whip. There's some boy with 2 daggers. There's like another like old guy in the back, just like giggling to himself or something.
Yeah,
it could be he thought it was a Power Ranger squad. Honest mistake. We all do this all the time. We whip out our crystals and we just call upon the power of Irate.
Yeah, I mean, now you get arrested for whipping out your crystal in public, man.
That's true. You want to be careful about that now.
So he just is like, Erase! Or whatever. I don't know how to say her name.
He's about to die and he just yells a woman's name. I don't know. Have you ever done that? Like, you're about to get hit by a bus and you just go, Sally, and like, that's...
Well, that's why I think I retconned it in my own mind unconsciously and thought that he said I call upon.
Yeah, you made it way cooler, Paris.
I don't know. I think we should check on that, but you have the book, so.
I have it in front of me. I guarantee you that he does not say I call upon the power of.
Or I call upon the aid of, or I call upon, I don't know. I thought it was more than just like, Sarah! Like while you piss yourself. Sarah!
And this time, in the stress of his danger, a name rose in his mind. He did not know if he whispered it aloud or not. It couldn't matter. Nothing mattered now. Not even the fact that he could speak her name at last. Irate, he said to himself in a passion of fury and despair. Irate. And then the whip came down.
Oh, god damn it. All right. Yeah, I retconned it for coolness in my own mind, unconsciously. Sweet. Cool. Thanks, mind. Thanks for protecting me from them.
Yeah.
Because
it was clearly their influence.
Yes. And so he's like, what the fuck? And so, like, somebody in the room, the dude in, like, the red outfit, the red boots with the whip, like, starts helping him escape.
Two daggers. The redhead has the whip. There's a redheaded man that has the whip, and there's a person with 2 daggers.
She's red boots, though, right?
Yeah, red boots, because he mentions the red boots at every turn.
Yeah, sorry, that's why I'm getting confused with the guy with the red hair and then the person with the red boots. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, Red Boots starts helping him escape because he was trying to fight people by himself and it wasn't working. And then Red Boots comes in and then they escape together. And Red Boots takes him to a boat. Like,
just a random dock that's out the back door.
Yeah.
How convenient.
And so then they get in the boat and they cut away and he's like, oh man, thanks for saving me, bro. And, Red Boots is like, yeah, cool. We're just going to go back to my lair. Like, okay. And so he's like, I don't know, sure, friend. Not really questioning, like, this is odd that someone helped me in that room when everyone was about to kill me.
After I shouted a woman's name.
After I shouted a woman's name. How strange. And so they get to their lair, Red Boots' lair, and then Red Boots starts changing and taking off their clothes, and, guess who it is?
It's a lady, and her name's Irate. Oh, wow. It's so cool that she happened to be in that room to save your life at the exact moment you remembered that name of that weird lady.
Yeah. So, and then he's like, oh, my love. Like, somehow he didn't recognize the woman he loved in, like, slight drag. Like, not even really. She was just wearing, like, a hat. Right? She just had her hair in a hat. And that was it.
It was like a large plumed hat, and she has some armor and red boots and 2 daggers.
And somehow he was like, that is a man bro that I have never seen before. And it was like, okay. And then, he's like, oh, my love. And they, like, make out for a second. Thankfully, it's very brief and not described in detail. That was a... Thank you. Thank you, Henry Kuttner. Even though you're dead, thank you. I hope you can hear me from beyond the grave. Yeah. They have a quick makeout sesh, and then he's like, oh, so I don't know. Has, like, a revelation moment. Yeah. Something's a little different. And she's like,
did you get your tongue pierced?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Does she reveal at that moment that she's evil? I feel like she
gets like a really evil look on her face because he's like, you're not her.
Even though she is. And they have this moment where he's like, oh no, the woman I love is actually evil now. And I forget what happens at that point. Do you remember?
He escapes somehow.
Yeah, he runs away.
By the way, I think it's because that the girl that helped him in the first situation is also here.
Oh yeah, she also is there. Like,
and once again helps him out of this situation.
Yeah, even though last time she kind of fucked him. So like, why would you follow this girl who clearly screwed you the first time?
She was working for Irate, I guess?
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense, because if she's the one that brought him to a room where Irate was, then she would also be at Ireith's palace. But the little girl's like, I am a slave and she is evil. I do not like her. Let us go. You know,
You also have a stunning little girl impression. Every little girl I know sounds like that.
Yeah, like a 90-year-old ghost. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. I don't know, man. Voices are just coming out of me, even though they don't make sense.
Sure.
I mean, it kind of works because these books don't make any sense. Like, these stories are really bad.
Anyway, so he figures out that his former lady love was an evil now, or different and evil somehow, and they run away, and then he gets basically led back into the traps of the huntsman once more.
Does that happen before he goes back to the castle?
He doesn't. I don't think he ever goes back to the castle once he's in the city.
No, he does.
No, right? He doesn't. No, he doesn't.
I don't know. You read this more recently, so I'll trust you on that.
He does not. He stays in the city, and he basically, like, long story short, after the little girl leads him out, she's like, oh, just go down this hallway, and he's like, all right, cool, and then he's like, oh man, this hallway's haunted or something. There's something wrong with this. It's like there's like a bunch of roots everywhere that look weird. And yeah, she leads him down a random alleyway that's, I guess, next to like the lair of Ireith, and he just ends up in the huntsman's like tent cave. I don't know. It's like described as like a tent in an alley or something.
No, it was like an underground passageway, the roots thing, and like people, he could see like people's faces in them and shit. And Sonic actually fucking. Gillard, what's his name?
Godfrey.
Gifford.
This is a later scene that you're about to describe.
Oh! I thought it was the same.
First he is trapped with the huntsman again. He like stumbles into the huntsman's like underground tent lair with the 3 jaguar things just like chilling down there. And the huntsman's like, I will reveal to you everything that's been going on now.
For some reason.
I used to love Ireith, and she was actually a woman that was the daughter of the king of this city, and then the king of the city decided he wanted to trade with them, those things, and so they in order to communicate better, they split his daughter in 2, not literally, but like...
Well, no, literally. They did. I mean, they
didn't like cut her in half.
No, but she exists as 2 entities now.
Yeah, one is the good side, which, oh my god, turns out that's the Oracle, and the other is the evil side, which is Ireith.
Like, tell me how William didn't look at the Oracle and go,
nothing but a Oracle. Tell me how. Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't even know what you were trying to say.
Backstreet Boys, never mind.
Oh!
Right. Joke fell flat.
Wow, yeah.
Moving on.
It's all right.
Moving on.
So, I don't understand how he didn't see the Oracle and go, oh, Ireith. Like, why didn't he have that...
Well, you see, the Oracle has like white hair, and Ireith and like it's white hair that's straight, and the Oracle has like curly dark hair. Everyone knows that curly dark hair people are the evilest people.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because the good version, the Oracle has the white. She's like all white. She's just straight white hair and white skin and white everything and blue eyes. And evil Ireith, has brown curly hair.
The color of evil.
Evil brunettes and brown-eyed people, of which there are billions.
They're all the evil half of someone else. Turns out.
Yeah. Well, like,
where does that put bald people?
Oh, you're the balanced ones, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the truly balanced people.
No, and like I thought the whole subplot, or the story rather, about the communications with them and they, and how Ireith, when she was whole, was like super intelligent. Like she and her dad king were like really into trying to figure out what they knew and how to communicate with them. And she's the one that like decided to go forward with it, right? And they just didn't think this was going to happen. Like they had no idea that she was going to end up getting split into 2 beings. Like they had no idea. So that just happens, and everyone's like, the fuck? And of course I'm sure there's a whole group of people who are like, told you not to mess with them, look what you did. Look what you did. This is why.
I guess the Oracle escapes and goes to the castle that the Crusader's in and just decides to live there, so she doesn't have to be in contact with Iwraith, even though every once in a while they get back together to become the whole person again.
Yeah, what the fuck is that shit?
And turns out that version, the whole person, traveled interdimensionally to New York to find William to set themselves free, or both sides kind of had a thing.
But why would she go to New York to get this dude? I don't even think they ever explained that.
Iwraith was the one that was kind of the evil side was more in control when they merged, and she needed a way to get contact with the castle because she couldn't go there and touch the Oracle because that's what the fire cage does, is it keeps Iwraith out.
Oh, right.
So she needed to get someone that she could use as a spy, and she happened to find the ancestor of Guillaume.
Oh, yeah.
And because they looked the same, she was like, that's my in. I could somehow use that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But then, little did she know, good Iwraith, the Oracle half, actually fell in love with him. And,
they both kind of fell in love with him in their own weird way.
Yeah.
Because they were the whole being, and the whole being fell in love with him, so they each have their own version of it or something.
Yeah, basically.
By the way, why didn't, when the Oracle saw William when he came back, why didn't she say anything to him then?
I don't know, man. That's why I also was just anyway. So, I don't know. Story ends. They fucking somehow get them back together. I don't remember how. Also, turns out the Huntsman is also, the evil vizier or prince of the Sorcerer City.
He was an advisor to the Sorcerer.
Jafar?
Jamai.
Jamai. God damn it, these names, they're killing me.
Yeah, turns out he was the advisor to the Sorcerer King, and that's why he was in love with Iwraith as the whole being, and he got all weird when she separated, and he is simultaneously Jamai the advisor and also the huntsman on the side.
Yeah, so it makes me think he'd probably be the person who would be coolest with her being two people, since he is also two people. But apparently that's I don't know.
He two-peopled after she two-peopled because he was trying to be more like her. He's one of those boyfriends that takes on the characteristics of the person that they're dating.
Oh man.
If you're going to be two separate people, I can totally be two separate people, even though you're in two different bodies, but I have to use the same body for the two people.
I'll just use different outfits. I mean, I think that's literally what he did,
I can
right?
improvise. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what he did.
And so, yeah, that's weird. I forget how it ends, but I know it ends with he gets the girl and everything's cool, yeah. But I don't remember how. He chooses the Oracle somehow when they're about to fight each other, and that gives her enough power to become whole and take over the evil part. Oh, yeah.
And then they just leave the Sorcerer City because turns out the Sorcerer King was dead the whole time, and evil Iwraith was puppeteering him.
Yeah,
so
literally,
they just leave.
His body was just being magic puppeted.
Just sitting on a throne, not decomposing ever. And anytime anyone would approach the throne, Iwraith would just puppeteer him and be like, "Oh, don't come any closer, or you'll die." And
so what was happening in the whole year she was gone?
Yeah.
Is he just on Auto King? It's just
yeah, I guess no one bothered to check that whole year.
I guess
everyone already walked into the throne room once, and he told them they were going to die. So I'm not going to go back in there.
What if she was able to set him to okay, click the box for tell everyone who approaches to die. Good. All right, check the other box
message,
for
basically.
A knighting every 4 months. Yeah, 3 nights a year. Okay, yeah, put him on 3 nights a year. Let's see. Also, should we have him ask for cups of wine? Or, I don't know.
Also have him fart once a week just to keep it, keep it light.
And put the farts on random. Okay, good. All right. See you in a year, guys.
I'm imagining a much more low-tech version where you hear an old-style tape answering machine click and hi, the king isn't here right now, but that's what you get when you knock on the door to the throne room. They won't let you in. It's just the king isn't here today. Leave a message after the beep beep.
Yeah,
that's an old reference for you youngins when voicemail things used to be a literal tape machine that you had to rewind to listen.
Yeah. Yeah, so that whole thing makes no sense. And then, they I don't know, like the power of love saves them and then they leave and
They
go back to New York.
By the way, the Sorcerer City is now just like has no ruler, and the Crusaders back in the tower are just like still fucked.
Yeah,
so
there's
who cares about them?
There's a power vacuum in this magical city, and then these people who helped you the whole time, these Crusaders, like, oh, I know how to get back to New York, but like, fuck them, I'm out, bounce. Like, what?
So it's all fine as long as William got laid. The end.
Yeah, William had a little adventure and got some pussy. Like, that's... Jesus.
Who cares about this other entire civilization?
Yeah, fuck those people. They were nice to me. They clothed me.
Yeah. Who cares about... The end.
Yeah,
that's that story.
The end. So, all right.
That's the good one, by the way. That's the good one.
Yeah, that was the good one. I thought that had some good concepts in it, but it was just not... It had a lot of, convenient
horror pulp.
shit.
Probably got paid by the word, like a penny a word.
Yeah, he probably did. Probably less than that. It was the 40s.
Yeah. Well, it's the Spotify streams of the 1940s.
Yeah.
It's just like 0.001 cents for every word.
For every word of fucking sparkle and surprise stories, get 0.001 penny shilling. I don't know.
Penny shillings, yes.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. I'm in rare form. So the next story... Under a Dim Blue Sun by Howie K. Bentley. So
I think that's still like a really weird, lame title because it just makes me think of like a dim, area, not very exciting.
Well, so remember how we were trying to figure out how these why these stories were packaged together, and so the similarities they have, so Under a Dim Blue Sun takes place on a planet that has a dim blue sun, and Lands of the Earthquake actually the weird the land, I don't know, the Lands of the Earthquake. It's not what any character calls it in the book, but that also has, a constant half-sun, because, it's always sort of, hazy out. There's no, night and day. So they
basically my ideal place to live, so I can actually see. That is perfect for me to actually be able to go outside and see.
So, so they live on the Chris planet, and, so they have that in common. They also both have anthropomorphic cat men. But
sure.
They also both end with the hero getting the girl, but otherwise
and flying away forever.
Yep, but otherwise they have nothing else in common. And this story, Under a Dim Blue Sun, is so much worse than Lands of the Earthquake.
It is.
Good God.
It's 75 pages, so it's mercifully quick, somewhat.
Yeah, and that was
death.
That was my strategy. I was like, all right, I'm gonna read the longer one, who's by the older, more established author. Then I'll read the one that's probably going to be crap. Because, I look at that cover, like we said, the cover is just the pulpiest thing. I'm actually going to post it on our fancy new Instagram once we're done with the episode. So then you can see these glorious covers. Just wow. The amount of weird tropes packed into the cover and the story is just astounding. I actually felt, while I was reading it, this is a joke. This is a story where someone was like, all right, how many dumb fantasy tropes can I pack into one story under 100 pages?
That might be the case.
Either that, or it's the misogynistic fever dream of a guy who took too much NyQuil and fell asleep next to his pet cat and pet iguana. I don't really know.
Yeah.
That's the other theory, because there's lizard men, there's cat men, and I don't know it.
So our story opens with Captain Erasmus O'Brien has been imprisoned by the U.S. military for punching a dude out who killed his dad or something.
Well, no, because he's also in the military. He's also a not a Green Beret, but he's something like that.
He's something. There's so much military porn things up front. They all had the olive gray drab uniform of the United States Army, and they were carrying M2 carbines, and they looked so soldiery and cool, you guys.
Yeah, this is very much if anyone has listened to Monster Hunter International, our episode about that, it's kind of like if Larry Correia, the author of Monster Hunter International, wrote a draft for that series, but when he was 13.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, it's so bad.
O'Brien is so American, you guys, and such a tough guy, and he's the best at the shooties, and he's the best at what he does, so they have to let him out of military prison for one last job for his freedom, which is to steal a Nazi UFO?
Yeah, which is to steal. So, like, he's supposed to go into enemy lines, so go into some German-held area, steal a giant spaceship. It's not like it's the size of a car. It's not like a little shuttle. It's like a full-blown flying saucer.
Yep, that's the Nazis made.
Steal it by himself, and then fly it where? I don't know if we ever actually...
He was supposed to fly it back to the United States, basically.
Yeah, like somewhere. I don't know. Roswell, New Mexico, probably. And so, we're getting to a part of the story I actually like. So he, like, goes on this mission and, like, fucks it up royally. And I thought that was great. I was like,
it's not even, he doesn't even fuck it up royally, because it's literally like there's one chapter. The chapter 1 is him going like, okay, we're about to go on the mission. The beginning of chapter 2 is him at the end of the mission running away. It skips over everything entirely. You thought this short story was going to be about him going into like rescuing this Nazi UFO or stealing it.
That's what I thought.
And it's already done by the start of chapter 2. He's already flying away in the saucer being chased by Nazi fighter jets. Like, they skipped over that whole thing.
Yeah, and the Nazis also, like, disappear because basically, like, they send this guy to go steal this UFO, but he doesn't know how to fly this UFO. They literally are like, well, you're a good pilot, so, like, it's probably fine. Like,
You'll figure it out.
Like, and honestly, to the writer's credit, it's very realistic in that he can't fucking fly the thing.
He's just pressing random buttons.
Yeah, just pressing buttons, ends up pushing it into, like, super hyper fuck warp drive, like, and like,
because, by the way, there's a Viking helmet that lets him understand German on the thing, or something.
And doesn't it have, like, a Nazi symbol on it, like the eagle or something?
Yeah, it does, and it has horns
swastika
on it. And he puts the helmet on, and he can understand the German that the computer is speaking all of a sudden. And it gives him, like, a reading in kilometers. And he's like, yeah, I'm a goddamn American. Fuck this metric system shit. And it, like, switches to feet. So that's a cool America tough guy moment, I guess.
Yeah, and
how dare you use an easier-to-use measurement system?
Yeah, I know. We Americans, man, we gotta get on board with the metric system. But anyway, and, you know, he's like, oh, it's a Viking helmet. Like... Are we really still in a world where people do not know that Viking helmets did not actually have those two horns on the side? Like really? We're still in this place? Like, still? Anyway, that drove me nuts.
Historical accuracy is important in my sci-fi pulp about Nazi flying saucers.
So like,
how dare you?
You think this story is going to be about Nazi U.S. military crap, but that is already over. Like Chris said, in the middle of, like, chapter 2, like, he accidentally puts the fucking ship in super hyperfuck warp drive, and, like,
that's page 8 out of 75 that he does this, by the way.
So page 8, he's already hurtling through space. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
I mean, and I keep wondering, like, what happens if he just, like, warps into a planet? Like, you know, he's not directing the ship to go anywhere. It's just going. And eventually he does, fly into a planet.
It stops, like, right outside this one planet, conveniently, that's totally habitable for humans.
Wait,
and the
it
ship
doesn't
is like,
stop,
we out of fuel, man. You're going to have to stop by to pick up some tritium crystals somewhere.
Oh,
or else you're fucked, basically.
The ship is like, I don't know, your cat who's like, meow, 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 I need some food. But, like, imagine if your cat was like, CVS
a German Nazi flying saucer.
2 for 1 meow mix this week. CVS is it's 0.2 miles away. You know, it's just really funny that the ship is like, please disembark on planet CVS and pick up triethium crystals for my butt. And it's just like, okay.
Could you pick up some flaming hot Cheetos too? I like them.
Also, some cherry Coke, if that is still being made on this planet. I mean, it's just like,
it's not called cherry Coke, it's cherry Glax on this planet, please.
Fuck you. So, this story is like, I mean, 2 sentences in, and I was like, oh, the writing is really bad. The writing is terrible. There are so many... There's, like, weird typos and weird repetitiveness, but only for certain sections. Like you said, like, the olive drab uniform gets used like 4 times in like 4 pages, but then never again.
Because it's the military look, and oh my god, you guys, military guys look so cool in their uniforms.
Yeah, it's the writing is really, really bad. I mean, we're talking like, you know, like middle school level writing. It's not good.
I don't know. I've seen some middle school writing, and this is definitely a higher quality than some of that.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Surprised.
Fine, fucking high school. All right.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
It's not.
But anyway,
it's not more than that.
Anyway, he disembarks the UFO on the strange planet to go get the butthole crystals and the cherry coke or whatever, the cherry glax. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He's
and
going
he encounters
to
a woman picking mushrooms, and she's attacked by snake men. Oh no!
Oh, but this woman, Chris, she's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. She's got white
aren't
skin
they all in every
and
one of
white
these
and
books?
green hair, and she's wearing a golden breastplate and like red skirt. But on the cover of the book, they changed that to red thong.
Yeah, you know, that's what a skirt is. It just covers the only one area.
Yeah, a skirt is actually a G-string. That's...
Oh, yeah, and like every other woman in every sci-fi thing, they're so beautiful. They're the most beautiful thing in the world. Oh, my God, you guys, I can't believe...
Oh, and guess
I want
what?
to put it in her so bad.
And guess what? Right when you decide you want to put it in her, she's getting attacked, and you get to save her. Oh man!
So convenient. I look so cool and nice by shooting these snake men with ray guns that render them to ash.
Yeah, which he found.
By the way,
on
the Nazis
ship.
had a ray gun on the ship.
Yeah.
Because reasons.
I don't know. And, you know, and somehow he hits the snake man and he doesn't, like, disintegrate the girl and end up sleeping with the snake man, because that would have made for a far more interesting story. I'm just gonna...
I saved you. I saved you from that woman, so you have to sleep with me now, snake man.
Yeah, like, it would have been much cooler if it was like, oh, no.
I guess I have to. That's the intergalactic rule. That's my snake man impression.
I know
like that?
I know a good place. So anyway, yeah. So, and of course she literally collapses in his arms in like a damsel in distress, like, "Oh, sir, whatever would I have done without your help?" And of course he understands her,
because the helmet.
Because he's still wearing the helmet, and like.
No,
so,
by the way, the language stuff works even if you take the helmet off, because you just have to put it on once and listen to someone, and it works forever.
Wait, what? Is that a thing?
Yeah,
that
he
happens?
takes the helmet off multiple times throughout the book.
Oh, wow,
and he still understands stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... And also, how would the helmet know how to translate an alien language it's never heard before?
Those Nazis were really... that German
They're
engineering,
really prolific,
let me tell you, buddy.
Yeah, you ever own a Volkswagen, man? I'll tell you. They'll fucking drive you to space.
Yeah. Anyway, so she's this... Her name's Elikaina, and she's like, "Thank you, Erasmus." By the way, who the fuck is named Erasmus?
I don't know. I was thinking the same thing. I love how his name was Erasmus O'Brien. Like,
yeah.
What? Oh, man.
This is the part. This is funny because she starts telling him about like the area that he's in, and Howie Bentley just really wanted you to know all the cool planet names he made up because
he
describes
and all the names.
She gives you the whole solar system rundown. So here's the paragraph. What is Ron Krath? Erasmus interrupted. Ron Krath is the solar system in which we live. Elikaina glanced at Erasmus.
Wait, we live in Ron's crotch? That sucks.
Yeah, Ron's crotch is the galaxy that we live in. Elikaina glanced at Erasmus, then set her sight back on her aerial course. Ron Krath is comprised of 11 planets. Targathis, the planet we inhabit, Sigtrith, Talmuliani, Talfagus, Organ Pra, Stragus Tharn, the witch planet, Godundra, that's a good one, Thorxvar, Gorn und Ork, and Puun Grail.
So here's
By the
thing.
way,
Chris.
I'm not done. Our sun, in case you wanted to know, is Cracker Roll, and our twin moons are Roll and Axa. So thanks for that, Howie. I'm really glad you came up with fucking Borpulon 5 and Sigtith number 4. Like,
no, Chris, you've just been doing the dating game wrong. Like, when a guy saves me from snake men, and I'm swooning under his masculine prowess, I tell him about our solar system. You know, that's the first thing I do. I say,
you want to let them know where they are immediately?
We are on the planet of Earth. And the other in the solar system, the solar system.
Yeah. There's Mars and Mercury.
And Venus
you're from
and
Mars.
Pluto.
I'm from Venus.
Oh, and then, poor Pluto. It used to be a planet, and now it's not, even though it's still there. And Uranus, and, and we have a moon, and it's called Moon.
Yeah, we're real creative like that over here on Earth.
Like, why would that be your fucking, like, what? God, anyway.
I just love that Howie had to, like, make sure he showed you all the names he made up.
And I just hate...
God forbid he doesn't let you know about Gatharka Sigtrapia or whatever.
And he does the same, like, horrible job with names of characters. Like, at one point, the character names are, like, inseparable and unintelligible. Like, you were saying the same... You told me that, and I was like, yeah, I had the same problem where I couldn't remember any of the, like, cat names and then the other people, because they all started with T's, and it was really confusing. I don't know.
Here's some names that we've got for you. There's Elikina, Erasmus O'Brien, Sangtara, Kulbrax Aetius, Tharg Turtha, Tharg Tanuth, Magnus Gun, Nagaina. That's the only ones I'm grabbing right now.
The Nagaina are like the snake men. That's what they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, he like goes back to the city that Elikina is apparently a slave in, to the queen of the city. That's Sangtara, by the way.
Yeah.
By the way, they're called Thalparians.
Yeah, and of course, like you said, conveniently, this is a planet on which Erasmus O'Brien can breathe. Like, the atmosphere is amenable to humans. Also, there's other humanoid creatures here, not just snake men. Like, I don't know. And yeah, they go back, and she's like, oh no, I'm a slave to my queen, who used to be cool. It used to be cool being her slave when she was cool queen, but now she's addicted to these fucking mushrooms I was harvesting when I got attacked by those snake men, and that sucks real bad. I really wish she wasn't addicted to those mushrooms, but... yeah, like...
So as soon as they get into town, Erasmus wants to take Elikina away, so he starts zapping guards that try to take her away, and then he's like, take me to your leader, I guess, because I'm gonna zap everyone else if you don't.
Yeah, dude, he just gets there and starts murdering people. Like, what are you doing? You're on an alien planet. You just crash landed here. You don't have any way to get away. Like, at this point, he doesn't know that they have the fucking triathlete
Tritium, please,
crystals.
Paris Tritium.
What? I just want to be dead.
They don't have
this
the triathlon
so
crystals.
Yeah, they don't have the triathlete butt plugs.
Yeah.
So, it's like, what are you gonna do, dude? Like, I just can't imagine any reasonable character in any story just being like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna walk in there and start blasting people in the skull. Like, what?
Well, you see, because Elikina was a slave and he had to free her to probably get laid, so he has to just start zapping fools that are trying to, maintain her slave status.
So then he ends up in this weird, like,
it's like a battle arena / dinner. I guess he, like, has the gun with him at all times, and he's just like, okay, I guess we could sit down to dinner and watch a nice gladiator fight while I have a hostage in front of me.
Because Sangtara, is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like... She tries to do some kind of mind control on him, and it doesn't work because he's the special hero. I don't know why. It just doesn't work on him. And everyone's like, oh, your mind control does not work, Sangtara. And she's like, oh, no. And so they...
Oh, no, my Gorpulox muscles aren't working.
I didn't do my Gorpulox Kegels.
The fifth moon of Beppo isn't in repose.
And so... they kind of pretend to have a truce with him because he's like, you guys aren't the enemy, it's those damn snake men. Yeah, let's us humans kill all those snake men. It's whacking day. I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, whacking day.
Whacking day. Oh, fuck, I forgot how it goes.
That's really it.
Damn it. Oh, no, yesterday I sang much of the Planet of the Apes, the musical, with Troy McClure. I sang that with one of my friends when we were playing D&D last night because we were fighting apes, and we just both started going for it, and it was great.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it was really sad that I can't remember the lyrics to Whacking Day. Anyway, yeah, so, like, they pretend to have a truce, and they're like, yeah, you're right. I mean, those snake men are capturing, enslaving, and and like continually raping our women to produce snake humans. So yeah, you're right. We should address the snake crisis.
I think
That's
they
what's
thought the
happening.
reason was so like the snakes wanted to interbreed with humans so they could walk upright better or something, even though they seem to be doing just fine.
So, all right. So those of you who play D&D out there, or who have maybe ever played a fantasy video game of any kind, this book seems to be at least racially inspired by the Yuan-Ti in the D&D universe, and then the what are the cat people? The Tabaxi? Is that what they're called? Yeah.
So depends on what edition you're talking.
Yeah. But the Yuan-Ti are like, lizard snake people in the D&D universe, and they have 3 forms, right? They have like I forget what they're called, but there's some that are like very humanoid.
Terrible book club for your deep D&D lore.
I mean, hey, but I'm just saying, because like that's clearly where he's deriving this. It's kind of like
Sure.
he made and so like the Yuan-Ti have like a version of themselves that are like very humanoid. Then there's the ones that are like top half human, lower half snake, and then there's the third kind that are like just snake monsters. And they think the snake monsters are like the like highest form, but these are like the reverse of that. Like in this book, they're like, oh no, we want to become more humanoid, because they think that they say they were cursed. And then this is another D&D thing where I feel like he kind of took the lore behind the little bird people, the little raven people. I played one. God, what are they called?
I forget what they're called, too. Even my D&D nerdery is failing me right now.
I know, but they're little raven people, and he basically took their story, because their story is that, like, they were cursed by their god for hubris, and so they can't speak their own words, they can only mimic, and they can't fly anymore. And so for these snake people, it's like, oh, we're taking away your good, like, humanish body. And so they're like, oh, I don't know why. They're like, let's kidnap humans and rape them. And it's like, I don't know. So that's why the snake people
works,
are
you guys.
evil.
I don't know how snake science works, but it seems real rough on my end.
Yeah, and then, like, eventually when they get to, like, the snake breeding concentration camps or whatever, they're like...
You're skipping over a whole lot here, because that's like the end of this story.
It's 75 pages. I don't care.
Okay, they were in gladiator fights, and then Erasmus gets stunned by the general because he had a snake man weapon that can stun you, and then they... pretty much nothing happens. You're right, they just kind of go after the snake people eventually for some reason.
I don't remember even how... And then, like, the fucking space Puss in Boots gets involved, and I don't remember, like,
he was
when
fighting
that
in the
happened.
gladiator things, and Erasmus and the Puss in Boots guy, whose name is Tarja Tarunin, or I don't know,
Tarja Tarunin, singer for Nightwish, also a cat mercenary.
Yeah, they reach a deal as they're being pitted against each other in the gladiator pits, and they fight the guards and they escape together, and they decide to attack the snake people because the cat guy wants to kill the snake emperor for killing someone. Someone on his planet was killed by snake people, and so he has to murder like the entire snake race or something.
Yeah, he's on this crazy, like, eye for an eye quest, basically. And he's going after every person who ever killed a cat person. But he just somehow got captured on this planet. I don't know. He, like, fucked up.
It seems a real rough gig to be the one person on your cat planet that has to go kill all of the other snake people that killed anyone on your...
Yeah, and by the way, I call him Space Puss in Boots because he's described as being a humanoid cat man, like, covered in fur, with small tusks, which is weird. A weird detail. But he's wearing a vest and boots. Like, a leather vest and boots, so he just looks like fucking Puss in Boots.
I guess he has... Does that mean he has no pants on, right?
Oh, yeah, no pants. His cat dog is just hanging out. Yeah.
Cat dick's just hanging out there. I guess
Yeah.
they're like barbed, right? You can use that as a weapon.
Yeah, they are. But, yeah, so
Terrible
it's
book
like...
club. Cat dicks.
No, but it's just like if you're gonna make a cool cat fighter with tusks, like, why are you putting him in a vest and booties? Like, that's just weird.
Oh, he's so cute. Look at him. He's got his little boots on.
No, he's a ruthless killer and cool sidekick. Like, ugh.
Oh, but he's so cute with this vest. Oh, you look so cute.
Oh,
Let's
look,
take a
he likes,
picture.
you know what he likes? He likes a dish of milk after a kill. Let's get him some milk.
Yeah. No, he likes he wants a nice big cup of Glax, which is a drink that I keep mentioning from this thing.
I didn't even remember that. Like
I remember that so much because when I read it, I was like, you just call it like something. You don't have to call everything a weird alien thing.
Yeah, everything has weird names. I don't know. They go after the snake people, and then they find them like trying to breed with women in giant water tanks. Do snakes have to breed in water? I don't understand.
They're doing regular weird sex stuff because they walk into like a snake rape orgy room, but then there's also a tube room.
Yeah, I fucking none of this makes any sense.
So I don't know if the wrestling with the ladies on the floor was just like for funsies before they put you in the snake inseminators or whatever.
Yeah, I have no fucking idea. And of course they get there right.
Sorry, the inseminators is probably the better way to say it.
Oh God, yeah. Gotta get that sibilance.
Yeah.
So of course they get there like right as Ella is about to get snake boned, and they pull her out of the tank and they fucking kill everybody and.
Zappo, by the way, no Snake Man can ever shoot to hit any main character.
No.
But they're all reduced to... It's only like in a sentence. It's like, and then the Snake Man shot and he missed, but then Erasmus shot and he killed 2 of them. Then he shot again and he reduced 3 other Snake Men to ashes.
Yeah.
That is the pace of every action scene is the Snake Man shot, but then Erasmus shot better. He's such a shooty guy.
Yeah, the writing is real bad, and it's... Yeah, like I was saying, I was hoping that this was like intentionally terrible, but I don't think that was. And it makes me, it makes me feel kind of bad because like the author, is in a band that I think is good and I like, and it's just like, sorry, dude, but don't write fantasy books. Just don't do it. Write your music. It's way better than this.
I want a full concept album about every single planet in this solar system. If I don't have like the journeys of Ron Krath from Thorxvar to Corcopulon,
the journey of Ron's crotch.
I will be very upset.
Yeah,
I want a whole song dedicated to Glax and its recipe.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be more interesting than this book, honestly. And that's
pretty much the end. Like they
discover the plot that like.
The general was in league with the snake
Glax
people.
Or Atticus Rex or whatever his name was.
Cablux Aetius.
Aetius, thank you. They find out that Aetius was in cahoots with the snake people, and he was the one who got the queen, sang whatever, Tara, addicted to those loopy mushrooms, and he was trying to like bone down with her. Eventually, like, that was going to be his, like, prize or whatever, because men are only motivated by eternal lust, and
every man in this book is motivated by either the desire to kill or fuck. That's the only thing that they are capable of thinking about.
And all women are really there for is to be set dressing and also to be fucked, eventually, by something.
Yep.
And that is all. So that's that story, and it was awful. Oh,
they murder the snake emperor somehow. He's like a fat snake somehow.
And then just like the last story, the hero and the girl just ride off into the space sunset. Like
Erasmus, like, he turns to Tarja Turin and the cat person and is like, "Oh, aren't you the prince of your planet? Actually, why don't we put you back on the throne?" And then the cat guy smiles to himself, and that's the end, suggesting that there might be a sequel to this somewhere.
That's right. It sets it up for a sequel. Oh, that's right. They're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go take over the cat planet," and the Catman's like, "Yeah, we are." And like he tries to paint the Catman as like a, I don't know, like a fucking Han Solo sidekick or something. Like, oh, he's kind of cheeky, and he's always into adventure, and he's a real good killer, and he loves eating big pieces of meat, and like, it's just so bad.
And that's pretty much all there is to that story. I know we didn't like really say much besides guy lands on planet, he's taken to the gladiator fights, meets a cat guy,
what happens.
And then he goes and murders the snake emperor. That's literally the beats of this
so
thing.
Bad. And like, so you're looking at this book and you're like, all right, this is about Nazis killing snake men, but like, it's not though. It's actually about how snake men are also Nazis.
Why did the Nazis have to be involved at all? He could have just found a UFO randomly.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Like, you literally didn't need that whole... I think he only gave him the military backstory to be like, yeah, he's the best shooter ever. Yeah, he can shoot stuff. He's a military guy. He's like an expert at survival and fighting, and it's like...
Best shoot. Best Schutz.
Yeah. I have no idea why the Nazis were involved. I think that's just because people are into Nazis. I don't know.
I guess they are.
Ugh.
And that's pretty much it for this double feature here.
Yeah, double feature of fucking garbage. So bad.
Some poor sci-fi author got pulled out of his grave to have to stand next to this shoddily put together homunculus of a story.
It was definitely... So I think it's a cool idea to have a book with 2 short stories that, you kind of get 2 covers, you flip it over, you read another one, cool. And it was a smart strategy by Howie Bentley to print his crap story with another one written by a more well-known author who's dead. So it was probably easy to get the rights to publish this. Yeah, definitely a smart move on his part, but he also could have picked maybe he didn't want to pick a really good story because he wanted to make sure his story had a chance. So he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna pick one of Henry's low grade stories."
This was reprinted with the permission of Don Congdon Associates. So whoever Don Congdon is, he owns the stuff.
It might be Kuttner's maybe wife's family. I don't know, because she had a different name from him. It wasn't like Nancy Kuttner. It was I don't know. She had a different name that she wrote under and stuff.
Well, somehow Don Congdon has the rights to this.
Yeah. So. Woof. Lands of the Earthquake had some cool ideas, but it just wasn't really thoroughly.
It took a turn as soon as the Sorcerer City became the setting, because all the creepy, weird stuff happening at the castle was cool and riveting, and I wanted to know more about it.
Yeah.
And the only neat thing about the Sorcerer City was them.
Yeah. Which unfortunately, we're not really. They only appear in the story twice.
3 times. At the top, when he first comes into the world, the huntsman is they're tangentially there. They walk through the streets that one time the girl saves them the first time.
Yep.
And then at the end, when Wraith and the Oracle. By the way, the Oracle was summoned from the castle because I forget how, but she actually walked out of the castle to come all the way to the Sorcerer City that one time. But Wraith then also calls them over, and so they're all up in the throne room where this was all going down at the end. And then they just leave when the Oracle tells them to. So they went all the way over there, and they had to just turn right back around before they cut what they want.
I didn't even remember that. Oh, by the way, the reason the Oracle Wraith goes to the city is the power of love. It's the power
of course,
love.
Naturally. That's always what it is.
Fifth Element. The Fifth Element's a really good movie, and it's about the power of love, and that was way more fun than this. I just think that this, I don't know, the story has
Paris,
a lot of
I just want you to think about being an otherworldly being that other smaller beings can't even look at you without going mad. And then one day, you and your buddies get the call from these people that something's about to go down, you better get over here. So you and your buddies, you get your bells together, you get your weird non-faces on, and you're I don't know, your tendrils in their weird areas, and you go slithering all the way across the lands of, by the way, the lands are always changing, so it's not like you can, Google Maps it, because it's just weird all the time.
Yeah.
So you all slither all the way to the Sorcerer City, all the way up into the throne room, and then all of a sudden they're just nah, our bad, just go back.
Yeah, but you're not a human creature, so you probably don't give a fuck.
I don't know, man. It seems like a real bother for them.
I don't know,
a real
man.
hassle for them.
I want more stories about they and them. I want more stories about these cool shifting lands. I don't want any more stories where the hero gets lucky constantly and then gets lucky in the pants. I'm just so tired of reading stories like this, and that's why I think I find these so fucking bad, because it's oh man, this male protagonist, it just gets swept up from his regular life and put into this fantastical situation where he's basically considered some kind of savior. Oh, and also he just steps into the perfect relationship and this lady falls in love with him immediately, and he wins everything, and all the coincidences work out in his favor, and then he leaves and does whatever he wants.
Theory for you.
What?
75% of all fantasy novels are about magic pussy.
That's accurate.
Just at least 75% of all fantasy novels involve some kind of magic vagina in them.
Yeah,
that's my new Bechdel test, I guess.
Dude, that's a problem kind of in all books, but Yeah, sci-fi and fantasy suffers from the same shit. It's like, we've talked about this on the show before. It's like, not every story has to have a romantic subplot or a main plot. And I just feel like everyone just wants every story to have that. And it's just so tired. I don't care. I don't want to read about two characters falling in love. I don't. It's not interesting.
She's you guys, but she's so beautiful, you guys. And let me tell you about how pretty this one lady was. Like face like pow, figure like bam, and it's just every time they can't all just.
Yep.
I get it. There's other things to talk about. Believe me, I like a good-looking person.
Sure.
That's fine and great, and everyone can appreciate that. But can we talk about something else? There's so many books out there. Can we please talk about something else?
And I don't want the inverse of that. I don't want the heterosexual version of that. I don't want the trans version or homosexual version. I don't want the trans version. I don't want. No, just none of it. Just get it out of my life. I just want an interesting story.
Sexless literature only. From
yes.
Here on.
I mean, because it's so hard to find that. How many books have we read for this show where we have not had to read about a relationship? I can think of one.
Probably in the Justin Bieber one.
Oh yeah, because that was like a coffee table book.
Yeah.
Aeon Legion is the only one I can think of off the top of my head. It's one of the reasons that I was like, I actually don't hate this book totally, was because it did not have a romantic subplot, and it was fantastic as the result.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the other stuff we went through, and they pretty much all have some kind
you know what? I can just pull up our Goodreads because...
Did Holy Cow have a romantic subplot? I don't think it did.
That one didn't. Well, it kind of did at the beginning, but it went away, so I would say it actually didn't.
Yeah.
Wow, sorry, David Duchovny. I owe you sort of an apology. I mean, your books still suck, but like...
You need to send him a tweet immediately. Sorry about that. Be like, what is this?
Yeah, because like, all right, we got, first book we did was Glenn Beck, The Overton Window. That had a romantic subplot. Marked was all stupid teenage romance.
That was all that.
Wizard's First Rule was number 3. That's, super that. Justin Bieber was the 4th one. That didn't have it just because, it was kind of like a coffee table book.
He talks about liking girls.
Yeah. And then the 5th book we read was straight up a sex book. It was called Midnight Sins.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the lost episodes as well. And then Wild Animus also had a romantic subplot.
The worst one.
Yep. Confessions of a Shopaholic had a romantic... I think it did, right? Had a romantic subplot, yeah. Left Behind did?
Yep, there was some people that were into each other.
The Art of Racing in the Rain did... No, because the woman dies, right?
Yeah.
So that one did, and although I think they referenced the wife, Irene Eidsley, I don't even remember what that book was about.
Yeah, there was definitely some marriage stuff happening. Marriage.
You're right. Yeah, there was some romantic shit. Who Moved My Cheese for Teens that we read with Greg, that did not have a romantic subplot. True. Maradonia did. The World Unseeing by Tamara Wilding. I'll never forget that one because that was the one that... I
completely forgot that one. Dude, I have no memory of that.
That author asked us to read her book.
I have no memory of anything in that book.
Yeah, that author asked us to read her book, and I think she just didn't understand, like, what we did. I think she thought the terrible book club meant, like... Oh, we're a bad book club, not like a book club for bad books. So we were like, fine, fuck it, we'll read your shit. And it turned out to be so much worse than we thought. It was just like this weird self-published, really short ebook, and it was some fantasy shit, but it literally made no sense.
I forgot everything, last word.
I don't remember the rest of it, but it was real bad. It definitely belongs with Under a Dim Blue Sun.
Yeah.
And then
let's comb through the rest here because we've been going kind of long.
Then we read also another literal sex book, When an Alpha Purrs, about having sex with a lion man. That was all about romance. Moon People did actually have a romantic subplot.
Somehow. They just slide it in there.
Somehow. Trump, The Art of the Deal, no. I mean, he talks about that he has a wife. I forget what wife he was on at that point.
I don't really want to read a Trump romantic subplot, so...
Sleeping with the Fishes was also all romantic shit. Holy Cow actually didn't, and neither did Aeon Legion. Holy Cow only did like at the beginning when Elsie was like into the bulls, but then that was like over.
Yeah.
Dark Star did, Murder Gone Awry did, Monster Hunter International did, Stone of Tears did, Hoe Tactics was about real life romance, awful. Melody's Marvelous Measles didn't, but that's because it's to convince children to die of diseases.
So like 3 or 4 books so far.
Audubon's Watch, also romantic. You Suck, also romantic. Dragon Prince, romantic. John Edward Crossing Over, not really. I mean, he has a wife
There's
that he
mentions.
mentions.
There's a lot of like, your husband or something like that.
Yeah.
So technically, sure, yes, the power of love is a facet.
Swamplandia, I wouldn't call it
Let's
romance.
not call that a romantic subplot, please.
Yeah, no. Chakra Crystal, 7 Books and Kit by K. Tomas.
Yeah.
Did not have a romantic subplot, but I think it teaches you how to get one in your life.
Sure, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, and then these two both did as well. So I guess there's actually a couple, but
4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, but most of them out of 32 books. Out of 32 books, 3
of which were nonfiction.
Right, 3 of which were nonfiction. It's like, it's kind of a thing that people just can't stop doing. Oh, man. So, this double feature book, Lands of the Earthquake and Under a Dim Blue Sun, I would not recommend this. I would say do not read this. It's probably highly unlikely that you would.
Maybe Henry Kuttner has another better one.
Yeah, I actually was, I did, because I immediately looked him up because I knew who the other author was, and was like, oh, that's cool. But then it turned out not to be. Looked up Kuttner and was pleasantly surprised and was like, oh man, his story's probably going to be pretty good. But yeah, I was looking at his list of works, and Lands of the Earthquake is like way at the bottom. So I'm thinking maybe this isn't the most representative piece from his repertoire. So yeah, I'd be willing to give Kuttner another shot. Howie Bentley though, man, I don't know what you're doing. Like, no offense, dude. Like, love your music. Love it. It's great. Just keep doing that. Like, I don't know. Don't write this stuff. Or if you do write it, just, like, don't make other people read it. Like, just write it in your room. Just keep it to yourself, man.
Yep, I don't really have anything more to say about this stuff, so let's do the usual wrap-up, I suppose.
Yeah.
Thanking everyone that is listening, and, leave a comment on some post somewhere on all the social media avenues we're trying to use to get the word out.
Yeah, so if you, it's cool if you leave us a review on iTunes or somewhere, wherever you listen to things.
Yeah,
please
things. Do that.
I just set up an Instagram for us. It's just Terrible Book Club on Instagram, so please follow us on there. I've been posting as many of our old episode links as I can. I've been putting out a story a day of an old episode, and one, I'll also put up new ones as they happen. But I didn't know how to use the stories because I am apparently an old grandma. So that was a fun ride. So I'm gonna be putting stuff up on there. So two thank yous I would like to do. One, thank you to Matt and Tariq's Terrible Book Club. So these guys started a podcast also sort of called Terrible Book Club, but it's a very different concept. They're actually doing like a horror radio drama about an evil book. So like that's cool. But they had the Terrible Book Club handle on Instagram. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I messaged them in, like, a last-ditch effort, like, thinking I was going to get ignored or laughed at. But they actually gave it to us. And they were really nice about it. So, like,
such nice gentlemen.
Guys.
Thank you.
So, Matt and Tariq, thank you for doing that. That was really nice of you to not, like, be a dick about it, or be dicks, plural, about it. Their show's pretty cool. Like I said, it's like a weird audio, like modern audio drama about an evil book. So it's kind of off the wall, which I like. It sounds like an original idea. So give them a listen. I think they're on Instagram as Matt and Tariq, and then you can find them by looking up like Matt and Tariq's Terrible Book Club or whatever. So it's a very different concept from us, but it's cool. And thank you to those guys for being cool dudes about giving us our Instagram handle. And secondly, thanks to Antiques Freaks. So I talked about them on the last episode. My friend D-Ray and her friend Ken do this podcast about antiques and stuff. It's really super funny. And they actually talked about us on their last episode, which I didn't know they were going to do. So thanks.
I should listen to that.
Yeah, so thanks
be
Ken.
Narcissistic.
Yeah, thanks Ken and D-Ray. That was really nice, you guys. I appreciate it a lot. Chris does too, I'm sure. So, yeah, thanks. And
I'm here. I can say that. I have agency.
No, you don't, Chris. You're wearing a gold breastplate and a tiny...
Oh, again? Shit.
Yeah, sorry, Chris. You just keep getting typecast. Like, that bikini armor, you just can't get out of it.
I showed up to this audition thinking it would be a classy thing, and I just keep ending up in metal bikinis every time.
I know.
Every time.
I know, man. The industry's rough. So, yeah, and I guess...
Is that what it's going to take to get us more followers? Do I have to post those pictures on our Instagram?
Oh, God. I'm sure that would get us more followers.
It probably would. I will have to say, like, I took some band photos of Graveborn for, like, the proper ones for the first time.
Great.
And I posted one on our Facebook page, and that is the thing that has gotten the most comments out of anything we've ever posted in 7 years of existing.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, I just started the Instagram, like, 4 days ago, and I swear to God, we've gotten more interaction on there than in like the 3 years we've been doing this podcast. And I was like, oh my God, what have we been doing? We gotta get with the times. So yeah, so follow us on Instagram for visual aids to all of our episodes. You can listen to us on just about any platform, whatever you're listening to now. I'm sure you're going to stick with that.
iTunes, Podbean, the Blueberry thing.
Radio Public fucking rules. Again, they're not giving me money to say this. I think their app is the best, and I love it. They're also from around here, so yeah, supporting my local shit. Yeah, we're on everything except for...
A literal tin can and a string. Pull it up to your ear.
I think we're in a seashell. Like, pick up a seashell, you're going to hear Terrible Book Club. We are fucking in your ear. We're not actually fucking your ears.
Yeah, no. We're not doing that in anyone's ears. Please.
Oh, God.
Please, no. It's really hard to fit in there, first of all.
Oh, wow. Sorry, everyone. Oh, yeah, also... So thanks to Dari, our patron.
Yeah, after that note, this is what you're supporting. This is what you're paying money for. And others should too. Please give us your money.
We have a Patreon, so check it out. Our reward tiers are really cheap. It's like $1, $3, $4, $5, and $8 or some stupid shit like that. Like, it's not a lot, so it's way less than $10 a month.
We have a goal of $25 a month. That's basically what we're trying to hit.
And we're not even meeting that. So, yeah. I mean,
we got to put out better content. We're trying. Some things are in the pipeline.
We've been on a fucking tear. We've been putting out an episode a week the last 3 weeks. What is going on?
I guess I'm really bored.
How did neither of us are bored. Like, how do
we're
either
plenty
of us
busy.
have time?
That's a joke.
Yeah, anyway, so we've been pumping out the episodes. We're gonna try to keep doing that, but I don't know how much we can continue. We're not sure what our next book would be. It might be a book about a shellfish, and that is all I'll say.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
But yeah, so Dari, thanks for being our patron. But Dari apparently changed her name on social media, and she was actually the person who had left those comments. So, I thought they were new comments I had never seen before, and it actually just turned out to be Dari, so it was not...
one fan.
It was not...
Thank you for being our one...
Yeah, so I was like... Yeah, my first thought was like... Oh,
apparently
man.
This is all for you. Just every week you have these two people read shitty books for you.
Dude, she's not 500 people a month.
I know, I'm making
God.
a joke. But she's the one that interacts with us the most, and therefore the most real.
Yeah, oh my God, what if she is?
Oh no, we've uncovered the plot.
No, I know she isn't, because there's this guy, Robert Kennedy. He's been following us for a long time. He's actually the guy who saved our Maradonia episode, which I still have to put up again. Sorry, everyone. We just don't have a lot of space every month because we can't afford to bump it up. So give us some more Patreon money. There's also some fun content on the Patreon, so check that out. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I don't remember. I feel like I'm gonna forget.
That's it for me too. We've been going on long enough. Let's wrap this one up and throw it out the door.
Yeah, let's never speak of these stories again.
All right, well that's it for me. I'll see you next time for some kind of awful book
about
with a romantic subplot somehow in it.
Shellfish and romance coming up next.
Yeah. All right, catch you later, Paris.